As we come on the air, there are 800,000 people in the state of Arizona who are right now being deprived of full representation in Congress, thanks to House Speaker Mike Johnson's refusal to swear in their Congresswoman-elect, Adelita Grijalva. Mike Johnson, as he did in April, swore in 2 new House GOP members during a pro forma session. Why?
Well, Representatives-elect Fine and Petronas and members of the Florida delegation present themselves in the well.
Mike Johnson has double and triple and quadrupled down on his refusal to seat Grijalva. He is claiming that he's following House traditions.
As all members rise and the representatives-elect, will you please raise your right hand?
Okay, so here's what nobody's telling you about what just happened in Washington. Mike Johnson, the guy who's supposed to be running the House of Representatives, just got absolutely demolished. And the wildest part, the person who destroyed him was Donald Trump. Except Trump didn't even have to say a word. He just stayed silent. In that silence, it basically ended Johnson's entire strategy to deal with this government shutdown that's been going on for 24 days now. Yeah, 24 days. We're talking about the second longest shutdown in American history here. Federal workers aren't getting paid. Museums are closed. Air travel's getting disrupted. And Mike Johnson thought he had a plan to fix it, or at least make it look like he was doing something. But then Trump just didn't back him up, didn't say anything, didn't post about it, nothing. And now Johnson's sitting there looking like a complete fool because his whole strategy just collapsed in the Senate dock. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us, be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video.
On which you're about to enter, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, you're now members of the 119th.
Mike, you can do it. That oath was administered when they were not in session. And importantly, within 24 hours.
Can you believe this? The Speaker of the House, the guy who's supposed to have power, just got steamrolled because the president wouldn't even bother to support him. And like, this isn't just some random disagreement. This is Johnson's entire political future on the line. He's got a tiny majority in the House. He needs every single Republican vote to pass anything. And Trump's silence basically told everyone, yeah, I don't really care what Johnson's doing here. So what happened exactly? Johnson put together this bill called the Shutdown Fairness Act. Sounds nice, right? The idea was to pay some federal workers during the shutdown. Not all of them, just some. And he thought this would be his big move. His way of showing he's trying to end this crisis. His way of keeping Republicans united. He even kept the House in recess. Wouldn't call members back to Washington because he said Democrats needed to act first. But here's the thing. On October 23rd, the Senate voted on Johnson's bill and it failed. 55 to 45. They needed 60 votes to move it forward. It didn't even come close. And Trump, still silent. Didn't endorse it. Didn't tweet about it. Didn't say Johnson was doing a great job. Nothing. And this is wild because Johnson has been bending over backward to align himself with Trump's agenda. Like the day before the vote, Johnson was out there defending Trump's absolutely insane AI-generated video that showed him dropping waste on protesters. Yeah, you heard that right. Trump posted a fake video of himself doing that to people protesting outside. And Johnson called it effective and satirical. He praised Trump's social media game. He tied his entire leadership to Trump's most controversial moments. But none of that mattered. Trump still didn't back him up. And now Johnson's stuck in this impossible position where he can't end the shutdown, he can't get his party united, and he can't even get the president to say he's doing a good job. Come on, think about what this means. Johnson thought he could play Trump's game. He thought if he just aligned himself with everything Trump wanted, if he defended every crazy thing Trump did, if he pushed Trump's agenda hard enough, then Trump would have his back. But Trump doesn't work that way. Trump uses people. And when they're not useful anymore, he just moves on. Doesn't even bother to throw them under the bus. Just stops talking about them. And that's somehow worse. So now we're sitting here on day 24 of this shutdown. Federal workers are missing paychecks. People are getting angrier by the day. Polls show voters are blaming Trump and congressional Republicans for this mess. And Johnson, he's politically isolated. His strategy failed. His leverage is gone. And the guy he's been defending nonstop won't even give him a single post of support. This is the second longest shutdown in history. You know what the longest one was? That was Trump too. Back in 2018 and 2019. 35 days over border wall funding. Same pattern. Trump leveraged government dysfunction for political messaging. Let everything fall apart. And then when deals were about to happen, he'd swoop in at the last minute and blow them up. Are you kidding me? We're watching the exact same playbook again, except this time, Johnson's the one getting destroyed, and Trump's not even in the room. He's just somewhere else, posting about draining the swamp, talking about how shutdowns are actually good because they let you eliminate federal jobs, and completely ignoring the fact that his own speaker is drowning. And the timing of this couldn't be worse for Johnson. We're less than 2 years away from the 2026 midterms. Republicans have a razor-thin majority that they need to protect. And instead of passing bills that help people, instead of showing voters they can actually govern, they're presiding over a historic government shutdown that's making everyone's lives worse. And Johnson's the face of it all. So yeah, this is a disaster. For Johnson, for Republicans, for anyone who thought Trump would actually support the people who defend him. And we're only on day 24. This thing could go on for weeks more. It could break records. It could get even messier than it already is. And through it all, Trump's just going to keep posting, keep staying silent on Johnson, and keep reminding everyone who really runs the Republican Party, let's break down what's really happening here, because the media is not explaining this right. They're making it sound like Johnson just made some tactical mistake, like he miscalculated the vote count or something. But that's not what this is about. This is about power. This is about Trump showing everyone in the Republican Party that if you don't have his backing, you have nothing. Johnson became speaker because Trump endorsed him. Back when they were fighting over who would replace Kevin McCarthy, Trump came out and said Johnson was his guy. And that was enough. Republicans fell in line. Johnson got the job. But here's what nobody understood at the time. That endorsement, it wasn't a gift. It was a loan. And Trump can call it in whenever he wants. So now we're in this shutdown situation. It started on September 30th. So we're almost a month in now. And Johnson's been trying to figure out how to end it without looking weak, without giving Democrats everything they want, and without losing his job. Because remember, he's got this razor-thin majority. If even a handful of Republicans turn on him, he's done. He can't pass anything. He can't even stay speaker. And then Johnson comes up with this plan, the Shutdown Fairness Act. Pay some federal workers, not all of them, just, some, the ones doing essential work or whatever. And he thought this would be his middle ground solution. Republicans could say they're being responsible. Democrats would have to either support it or look like they don't care about workers. And Trump would see that Johnson's trying to advance the agenda without caving. Except Trump didn't see it that way. Or maybe he did see it that way and just didn't care. Because Trump's been out there saying the shutdown is actually good. He's been posting about how this is leverage to drain the swamp. He's been talking about how you can use shutdowns to reduce the size of government, eliminate jobs, cut spending. And if you're Trump, why would you support a bill that pays workers during a shutdown? That completely undermines the whole point. So the bill goes to the Senate on October 23rd, and it fails, 55-45. Now here's the interesting part. That vote breakdown tells you everything. They needed 60 votes. That means they needed Democratic support. But Democrats weren't going to support a Republican bill during a shutdown that Republicans caused, especially when Trump's out there saying the shutdown is actually his strategy. And Johnson? He's still trying to act like he's in control. On October 22nd, the day before the vote, he admitted their messaging was feeling old. He said House Republicans were getting anxious about staying out of session. Members like Jay Obernolte were pushing him to bring everyone back to Washington. But Johnson kept saying no. He kept saying Democrats need to act first. He kept pretending he had leverage. But come on, what leverage? Trump won't back him up. The Senate won't pass his bills. His own members are getting nervous. Federal workers are missing paychecks. The public's getting angry. Air travel's getting messed up. National parks and museums are closed, and polls are showing voters blame Republicans for all of it. This is wild because Johnson keeps defending Trump even when Trump's not defending him. Like that video thing, Trump posted this AI-generated video showing himself dropping waste on protesters. These were people protesting outside, holding signs that said, "No kings" or whatever, and Trump made this fake video of himself, doing that to them. And Johnson, instead of distancing himself, praised it, called it effective, called it satirical, tied his leadership to Trump's most provocative stunts. And for what? Trump still didn't endorse the Shutdown Fairness Act. Trump still didn't post about Johnson doing a great job. Trump still didn't help him at all. You know what this reminds me of? The 2018 shutdown. Trump did the exact same thing to Republicans back then. They had deals ready to go, bipartisan agreements, ways to fund the government and avoid crisis, and Trump would swoop in at the last second and blow everything up. He'd demand more money for the border wall. He'd refuse to sign anything. He'd let the government shut down for 35 days, the longest shutdown ever, and then eventually sign basically the same deal he could have signed on day one. And Republicans just took it. They defended him. They blamed Democrats. They pretended it was all part of some master strategy. But really, Trump was just using the shutdown as a political weapon. He didn't care about the consequences. He didn't care about federal workers. He didn't care about the party's image. He just wanted to show he was tough. And now, same thing. Except this time, Johnson's the one paying the price. Because Trump's moved on to his drain the swamp messaging. He's talking about how shutdowns let you reduce government size. He's posting about eliminating jobs. And if that's his position, then why would he support a bill that pays workers during the shutdown? It completely contradicts his message. So Johnson's stuck. He can't end the shutdown without Trump's support. He can't get Trump's support because Trump doesn't want the shutdown to end. And he can't keep the shutdown going forever because his members are freaking out, the public's getting angrier, and everyone's blaming Republicans. This is the trap Johnson walked into. He thought loyalty to Trump would protect him. He thought if he just defended Trump enough, praised him enough, aligned with him enough, then Trump would have his back when things got tough. But Trump doesn't work that way. Trump uses loyalty. He doesn't return it. And when someone's not useful anymore, he just stops talking about them, doesn't attack them, doesn't defend them, just silence. And that silence is destroying Johnson because everyone in Washington knows what it means. It means Trump doesn't care if Johnson succeeds or fails. It means Trump's already thinking about who comes next. It means Johnson's on his own. Are you kidding me? This is the Speaker of the House we're talking about, the person who's supposed to be leading the legislative branch. And he's been reduced to begging for a single supportive tweet from the president. And he can't even get that. The shutdown's now the second longest in history. Federal workers have missed multiple paychecks. The disruption's getting worse every day. And Johnson's sitting there in political isolation, watching his strategy collapse, watching his authority evaporate, and watching Trump just not care. And here's another thing people aren't talking about enough. Johnson's keeping the House in recess. He won't call members back to Washington. He's saying Democrats need to act first before he'll reconvene. But what kind of leadership is that? You're the Speaker. You have the power to bring the House back into session. You have the power to put bills on the floor. You have the power to actually try to solve this problem. But Johnson won't do it because he's afraid. He's afraid that if he brings the House back, his members will revolt. He's afraid they'll force votes he doesn't want. He's afraid they'll make deals with Democrats that Trump won't like. So instead, he's just keeping everyone home, letting the shutdown continue, hoping somehow this all works out in his favor. Except it's not working out. His bill failed in the Senate. Trump's not supporting him. His members are getting antsy. The public's getting madder. And Johnson's running out of options. He can't keep the House closed forever. Eventually, something has to give. And when it does, Johnson's going to be the one left holding the bag. This is what happens when you tie your entire political identity to one person. When you make yourself completely dependent on their approval. When you prioritize loyalty over leadership. Johnson thought he was playing it smart. He thought aligning with Trump was the path to power. But really, he just made himself expendable. And now Trump's showing him exactly how expendable he is. Okay, so let's talk about what this actually means going forward. Because this isn't just about one failed bill or one awkward moment. This is about the future of Republican leadership. The future of Trump's control over the party. And what happens when the shutdown finally ends. First, Johnson's probably done. Maybe not today, maybe not this week. But his speakership is on borrowed time. He's lost his leverage. He's lost Trump's backing. And he's losing the confidence of his own members. Republicans are getting nervous about the shutdown. They're worried about 2026 elections. They're seeing the polls that show voters blame them for this mess. And they're starting to wonder if Johnson's the right guy to lead them through it. And here's the thing. If Trump wanted to save Johnson, he could. One post, one endorsement, one statement saying Johnson's doing a great job and Republicans need to stick together. That's all it would take. But Trump's not doing it. And that tells you everything. Trump's fine with Johnson failing. Maybe he even wants it. Because if Johnson fails, Trump gets to pick the next speaker. And maybe that person will be more loyal, more obedient, more willing to do exactly what Trump wants without asking questions. Second, this shutdown is going to end eventually. It has to. Federal workers can't go without pay forever. Air travel disruptions are getting worse. The public backlash is building. And even the most hardcore Republicans know they can't keep this going indefinitely. So something's going to break. Either Democrats and Republicans find some kind of deal, or Trump steps in and forces an ending, or Johnson just gives up and brings the House back to pass a clean funding bill. But here's what's wild. However it ends, Trump's going to claim credit. If there's a deal that funds the government, Trump will say he negotiated it. If the shutdown continues and government gets smaller, Trump will say that was his plan all along. If Johnson gets replaced, Trump will say he needed stronger leadership. Trump always wins in his own narrative. Always. And Johnson's going to be the fall guy no matter what happens. Third, This is a warning to every other Republican in Congress. You see what happened to Johnson? That could be you. If you think Trump's support is permanent, if you think loyalty protects you, if you think aligning yourself with his agenda means he'll have your back, think again. Trump uses people, and when they stop being useful, he discards them. Sometimes dramatically, sometimes quietly, but always completely. And this isn't even the first time we've seen this. Look at what happened to Kevin McCarthy. Trump endorsed him for speaker, then watched as McCarthy got thrown out and barely said anything. Look at what happened to Mike Pence, Trump's vice president for 4 years, and then Trump turned on him completely. Look at what happened to Jeff Sessions, Rex Tillerson, John Bolton, all these people who thought they had Trump's backing and then suddenly didn't. Johnson's just the latest example, and every Republican in Congress is watching this and thinking, yeah, that could be me next. So what do? They become even more loyal, even more obedient, even more afraid to cross Trump, because if you lose Trump's support, you lose everything. Fourth, the 2026 elections are going to be brutal for Republicans if this continues. We're already seeing polls that blame Trump and congressional Republicans for the shutdown. Federal workers and their families are furious. People who depend on government services are angry. Moderate voters are tired of the chaos. And Democrats are going to hammer Republicans nonstop about how they shut down the government, refuse to pay workers, and let Trump play games with people's livelihoods. And Johnson, he's going to be the face of all that. He's the speaker. He's the one who kept the House in recess. He's the one whose bill failed. He's the one who defended Trump's crazy videos and tied himself to Trump's most controversial moments. And now he's the one taking all the blame while Trump just stays silent. Come on. This is insane. We're watching a Speaker of the House get destroyed in real time. And it's not because he did something terrible. It's not because he betrayed Trump. It's not because he failed to deliver. It's because Trump just stopped caring. Trump moved on. Trump found a new message about draining the swamp and eliminating jobs, and Johnson's whole strategy became irrelevant overnight. So where does this leave us? Day 24 of the shutdown. No end in sight. Johnson's politically isolated. Trump's silent. Republicans are getting nervous. Democrats are loving this because they get to blame Republicans for everything. And federal workers are just stuck, not getting paid, not knowing when this ends, watching politicians play games with their lives. And the wildest part? This could have been avoided. Johnson could have brought the House back. He could have worked on a bipartisan deal. He could have prioritized ending the shutdown over trying to look tough. But he thought Trump's backing was more important than actually solving the problem. He thought loyalty to Trump would protect him. And now, he's got neither. The shutdown continues. His bill failed, and Trump won't even give him a supportive tweet. This is the state of Republican leadership right now, completely dependent on Trump, completely afraid of losing his support, and completely willing to let everything burn down if that's what Trump wants. Johnson thought he could manage it. He thought he could balance Trump's demands with governing. He thought he could keep everyone happy. But you can't do that with Trump. You're either useful or you're not. And right now, Johnson's not. And Trump's silence is basically his political death sentence. Maybe Johnson hangs on for a few more weeks. Maybe he survives until the shutdown ends. But his speakership, it's over. Trump's already moved on. And in Trump's Republican Party, once he moves on from you, you're done. And think about what message this sends to future Republican leaders. If you want Trump's support, you have to be willing to sacrifice everything. Your principles, your strategy, your political future, everything. And even then, even if you do everything right, even if you defend him at every turn, Trump might just decide you're not useful anymore. And then you're finished. This is how Trump maintains control. Not through loyalty, not through support, through fear, through showing people what happens when you don't have his backing, through making examples out of people who thought they were safe. Johnson thought he was safe. He thought his loyalty meant something. He thought wrong. So buckle up, because this shutdown is going to keep getting messier. Johnson's going to keep losing authority. Republicans are going to keep freaking out about their political futures. Democrats are going to keep hammering them in the polls. Federal workers are going to keep suffering. And Trump, he's just going to keep posting about draining the swamp, completely unbothered by the chaos he's created, completely silent about the speaker who's drowning, and completely in control of a party that can't function without him. And here's the scariest part. This isn't even the worst it could get. We're only on day 24. The longest shutdown in history was 35 days. We could hit that. We could pass it. We could be looking at 6 weeks, 2 months, who knows how long of a shutdown. And the longer it goes, the worse Johnson looks, the angrier voters get, and the more likely Republicans lose big in 2026. But Trump doesn't care about any of that. He's got his message. He's got his base. He's got his strategy of using government dysfunction as a political weapon. And if Johnson gets destroyed in the process, If Republicans lose seats in Congress, if federal workers suffer, Trump doesn't care because it's not about them. It's never been about them. It's about Trump. It's always about Trump. Welcome to day 24 and counting. And Johnson's still waiting for that supportive tweet that's never coming.